Are the Amish a cult or a religion? I've had so many people calling the Amish a cult in comments on my videos, and it makes me sad because I don't think they understand how the Amish work very well. You know, if you look at the definition of a cult, it has a single, usually charismatic, authoritarian leader. Every Amish church district has its own bishop. You know, there was 15 districts, 15 bishops in my own community. That's not a single person. Then there's 2 preachers and a deacon, so that's 60. 30 preachers, 15 deacons, that's 60 people working together as a collective, you know, to enforce the laws as they're supposed to do, as they are, you know, ordained to do. That is their job after all. Although the Amish were founded by Jacob Amon, a single person, back in 1693, we do not worship him. His name is not mentioned in church. He is not ever brought up when we are joining church. Nobody ever mentioned him to me, except my dad in passing, as history. Another thing about a cult, usually they control the money of all the members. The Amish people do not tithe every Sunday. We have to pay school fees, and then we also have to pay school taxes for the English schools. We pay fees for our own schools, and we give to the needy twice a year, just a little bit to the needy. And then if, say, somebody's house burns down, we all chip in and help as well. But the money does, you know, there is no benefit to the church from their members. You know, the preachers aren't making money, the bishop, nobody's making money off the members. There's no financial gain to be had. And another definition of a cult is that it can be hard to leave. In the previous video, I talked about why the Amish are not a cult, other than the fact that you can Google it and it tells you they're not, that they're a religion. Because they have more than one leader. They don't just have one leader, and they don't control the money of their members. But another reason a lot of people think the Amish are a cult is it can be hard to leave a cult, and it can be hard to leave the Amish as well. But it's not because of the Amish church. It's because of the parents. When I left, I lied to my parents. I told them I wasn't planning on leaving because I didn't want to break their hearts. When they found out, they were devastated. They were, you know, heartbroken. But I wasn't there to see it. I was long gone. But I found out the hard way a couple weeks later when my mom invited me to come back to stay overnight. Went out one last time before I got shunned. The next morning, I had to leave. It was so devastating to see them crying, bawling. My mom, my dad were crying. My younger brothers and sisters were begging me. My youngest sister was like grabbing a hold of my sleeve, like begging me to stay. You know, I had to break her heart, tell her, no, I got to leave. A lot of times you'll find that the people, the ex-Amish people who call the Amish a cult may have grown up in a cult-like family with a very abusive parent or an authoritarian parent. You know, because we learn the rules from our parents, not from the bishop. And unfortunately, the parents can be stricter than what the community calls for. I will address that in tomorrow night's video in part 3. God bless y'all. So I was talking in the previous video why the Amish are a religion and not a cult, and how some Amish parents are stricter than what the community rules are. Hang on, I think the bishop's coming. No, false alarm. But a lot of people think the bishop's this big bad person who makes the rules and picks on people and just enforces all these crazy rules that he just pulled out of his back pocket. You know, that's not how it works. The community rules are decided upon in most communities when the community is founded. Like the rules in my community have been roughly the same since the 1970s when it was founded. Now, there are some cases where the bishop changes the rules and stuff, but those are isolated incidents. That's not how the Amish work as a whole, you know. And the parents, more so than the bishop, decide what kind of rules they want. Because my dad could have moved to any community. He chose to move to the community that he did and raise his kids there. You know, when I joined on my own free will. And if anybody wants to leave, they can walk out. There's nobody stopping them. It was just hard to do emotionally to face my parents. There have been cases where Amish people have said, you know, I don't want to be Amish anymore. And yes, their family and their relatives, they're going to come over and say, why? You know, please stay. You know, we want, you know. And they will get shunned because they left. And in tomorrow night's video, I will address shunning because there's a lot of misconceptions on shunning. Another reason why a lot of people think the Amish are a cult is because of the shunning that goes on when you leave the Amish. But all the church requires from shunning is that a baptized member does not accept any money or you're not supposed to hand anything to a baptized member if you're being shunned. They're not supposed to accept anything from you. You're still allowed to talk to them if someone is being shunned. And if someone has never been baptized, they legally can't be shunned, but they can still be shunned. Does that make sense? They're not shunned technically, but every family shuns differently. So some families will shun their kids regardless if they have been baptized or not. My parents still allow me to come home and visit. I can't eat at the same table with them. That's another thing. I can sleep in one of their beds. I've slept in my old bedroom before 2 or 3 times now, and since I've left. I'm allowed to do all that. I'm allowed to go visit. I'm not allowed to park my car on their driveway, and they're not allowed to take a ride in my vehicle or use my phone. Other than that, everything is kosher. I can go out there and visit, and that, the shunning is still observed. They feed me when I go out. I just don't sit at the table and eat with them. They'll fix me a plate. I'll sit, in the rocking chair. My mom has a rocking chair there in the kitchen now that she's getting older. And I'll sit there in that rocking chair and I'll eat my food while they're eating at the table. It doesn't bother me. I have shunned them more since I've left and not talked to them more than they've shunned me. God bless.